You borrow $500 on a Tuesday. By the next Tuesday, you owe $600. You are not late. You did nothing wrong. That's just the interest. And the interest is the entire point. Here's what nobody tells you about the man who lent it to you. He was hoping you couldn't pay it back. A bank wants its money returned. A loan shark wants you to miss. Because the day you miss is the day the real business begins. The day the $500 you borrowed becomes a thing you will be paying for the rest of your life, in money, and then in favors, and then in ways you don't have a word for yet. He didn't threaten you. He smiled. He said, "Don't worry about it. We'll work something out." That sentence is the most dangerous thing anyone has ever said to you, because the debt doesn't sleep. It grows in the dark while you do. The VIG never sleeps. This is your life at every level of a loan shark. And you're going to start this story as the person who borrows because every shark did once. Level 1, the mark. You didn't go looking for a criminal. That's the first thing to understand. Nobody desperate enough to need this guy has the luxury of shopping around. The bank said no. Your credit is a crime scene. Rent is due, or the car that gets you to work died, or a kid got sick, and the number you need is small. A few hundred, maybe a couple thousand, but you need it today, and every legal door is closed. And then someone at work, or a cousin, or a guy at the bar says, "I know a guy. He's actually really reasonable." And here's the thing. He is reasonable. That's the trap. He's warm. He doesn't make you fill out a form. He doesn't check anything. He just looks at you, sizes up whether you're too scared to run, and hands you the cash with a handshake. No paperwork, which feels like trust. It is not trust. Paperwork is how you prove what you owe. Without it, the number is whatever he says it is. The terms sound almost casual. Just bring me a little each week. He doesn't emphasize the rate because the rate is insane. The kind of number that, on paper, would get a bank shut down. And that's exactly why he exists in the space where paper doesn't reach. You take it. Of course you take it. You're not stupid. You're cornered, and those are different things. Though the shark is counting on you, confusing them. For the first few weeks, you'll actually keep up. That's part of the design too. He wants you to feel like you've got this, right up until the week you don't. Level 2, the runner. The week you miss a payment, he doesn't get angry. That's the terrifying part. He gets understanding. He waves it off. Says these things happen. Says, and here it is. The sentence the whole trap was built to deliver. Tell you what, maybe you can do something for me instead. And just like that, you're not a customer anymore. You're an asset. It starts small and almost reasonable. Drive somewhere. Drop off an envelope. Pick one up. Don't look inside. Sit outside a building for an hour and text him who goes in. Nothing that feels like a crime exactly. Just errands for a man who is very grateful, and every errand shaves a little off the number that's been keeping you awake. You tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself you're working it off, but the number never actually goes to zero. Every time you get close, there's a new fee, a late. That wasn't late, a rounding error that only ever rounds up. You start to understand that you were never meant to pay this off. You were meant to become useful, and you're finding out you're good at it. There's a dark joke you start telling yourself around now. Just to stay sane, you got the worst job in the world, terrible boss, no benefits, and somehow you can't quit because you owe the company money. You laugh. Then you stop laughing because you realize that's just called a job, and half the people you know can't quit theirs either. They just don't call their boss a shark. Level 3, the collector. You're good and you're loyal and you're deep enough in that you can't leave. So he promotes you. Congratulations, you're a collector now. You're the guy who knocks on the door. And here is where you meet the person you used to be, because the door you knock on belongs to someone exactly like you were 8 months ago, cornered, behind, terrified of a number. They open the door, and you see it. The same fear you felt looking back at you. And you have a choice to make about what kind of thing you're going to be. The first few times, you're gentle. You give them time. You remember. But the shark notices, and the shark explains the arithmetic of your new life. Every dollar you don't collect, you now owe. Their debt rolls uphill to you. Mercy has a price, and the price comes out of your number. So you get less gentle, you learn the voice, you learn to stand a certain way in a doorway. You learn that you don't usually have to do anything. The fear does the work, and the fear is free. The first time you frighten someone into paying, you feel sick for a day. The 10th time, you feel nothing. And that, not the money, not the errands, is the thing the shark was really building in you all along. He wasn't collecting your payments. He was collecting your softness, one doorway at a time. You went looking for $500, and somewhere in a stranger's doorway you paid, with something you're never getting back. Level 4. The shark eventually you've learned enough, earned enough, become cold enough, and the man who owned you does the most chilling thing he's ever done. He sets you up with your own money to lend, your own book. You're a shark now. And God help you, it's good. For the first time since that Tuesday, you're the one on the smiling side of the handshake. You have the cash. You have the warmth. You've mastered the voice that says, we'll work something out, and means the opposite. You size people up in a glance now. You can tell in 10 seconds whether someone's desperate enough to say yes, because you were that person, and you never forgot the feeling. You just monetize it now. You tell yourself you're better than the man. Who made you? You give people a little more time. You're the nice shark. And then 1 month, your own number is tight because you answer to people above you. The vig runs uphill for you too. And you knock on a door and you hear your old boss's exact words come out of your own mouth in his exact tone. And you understand you are not a nicer version of him. You're just a newer one. You have runners now. You have collectors. You look at them and you know precisely what you're building each of them into, doorway by doorway, because it was built into you. You've become a small machine for turning desperate people into cold ones. And business, in a world that keeps making desperate people, is very, very good. Level 5, the office. Here's what you don't find out. Until you're in deep enough to see the books, you were never really the boss. Nobody at your level is. The money you lend isn't yours. It never was. It comes down to you from somewhere above. A quiet man, an office, an organization that treats street lending as just one small pipe in a much larger machine. Your loans, your fear, your ruined marks. It's all a cash cleaning operation and a revenue line for people who have never once stood in a doorway and never will. You're not a predator at the top of a food chain. You're the part of the machine that touches the blood, so the men above you don't have to. And you finally understand the shape of the whole thing. The desperate person at the bottom borrows $500. It gets multiplied by fear and labor and interest as it climbs through the runner, the collector, the shark, the office, and by the time it reaches the top, that $500 of one person's worst week has been laundered into clean, quiet, respectable wealth. The pyramid runs on a single fuel. Someone, somewhere, having a bad Tuesday. You wanted to climb it, but you're learning the rule of this particular ladder. The higher you go, the more you know. And the more you know, the less they can ever allow you to walk away. The top of a loan shark's world isn't a throne. It's the deepest part of the trap, wearing a nicer suit. Level 6, the reckoning. Every shark reaches the end of this road, and there are only 2 doors. Door 1 is the one you always feared, for your marks, and forgot to fear for yourself. It comes apart. A collector flips. An office decides you're a loose end. Or the simplest thing of all, you get behind on your number, and you discover, from the wrong side, that there was never any mercy in this system, only delay. The people who taught you the voice use it on you, and there's no one to call because you spent years making sure the people in your doorways had no one to call either. Door 2 is worse, in a way, because it looks like winning. You survive. You get careful and cold, and you last. You get the house, the clean front business, the quiet respectability the office always had, and late at night, in that nice house, the number finds you anyway, not a dollar figure, a different kind of ledger. Every doorway, every face, every person who opened a door to you scared and closed it with less than they had. You kept all of them. Turns out that's the vig you were really accruing the whole time, and it was compounding in the dark while you slept, exactly like you always told your marks it would. You went looking for $500 on a Tuesday. The vig never sleeps. And you were always going to end up on the other side of that desk. Here's the true thing under the whole story. Once you strip away the doorways and the fear, the loan shark isn't a monster who invented human desperation. He's just the man who figured out how to bill for it. Every single person in that pyramid, the mark, the runner, the collector, you, got in through the exact same door, a moment where the money ran out. The legal world said no, and someone reasonable and warm offered a way through that they swore you'd both work out. And that door is everywhere. It's the payday loan with the friendly logo. It's the card with the introductory rate. It's every system that has learned the sharks. One real trick that a desperate person will agree to almost any future to survive the present. And that interest is just a machine for selling people their own bad Tuesday over and over at a markup. You don't beat it by being smarter than the shark. Plenty of smart people are drowning in that exact water. You beat it the moment you understand the only thing his whole empire depends on you never learning, that the number was designed to be unpayable from the start, and that the warmest smile in the room is the one you should have run from. The vig never sleeps. Make sure you're never the one it's counting.